Hello, folks. It's Eamon McAuley here. I'm back with another wee chat about boxing. To my friend Chris, I'm going to get a microphone very soon. I'm only back from Torrevieja in Alicante. I was there for a long weekend, so just get myself together, and I'm going to go and get that mic. But today I'll try and speak a wee bit louder so as you can hear me. To my friend Michael, who asked me, did I know any York Street boxers? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. One of the best boxers that ever came out of the North or Northern Ireland, whatever way you want to say it, I don't care. The great Tommy Stewart. Uh, Tommy Stewart was a Northern Ireland area flyweight champion as a pro. Tommy was a great boxer, drawing a world flyweight champion, Jackie Patterson, and in his next fight he beat another world champion in Rindy Monaghan. It was one of the fights he had with Rinty. Rinty actually broke his right hand in this first fight, which Tommy won over 10 rounds. I know for a fact Rinty held Tommy Stewart in very, very high esteem. Tommy also boxed the great Peter Kane, losing to the Lancaster man. No disgrace in that. There were tough wee men in them days, especially the bantamweights, flyweights. There was a plethora of them in Britain and Ireland. Uh, Stewart also had a win over Ardoin man Pat Kelly. He retired with a pro record of 87 fights with 29 losses. Half his wins were by KO. He truly was one of the best boxers to come out of this place. And I'm just going to read a wee poem here. This is a book that John Campbell wrote, and there's actually a poem in it about Tommy Stewart. So I'm going to read that out. It's called The Belfast Battler. It's a tribute in verse to the memory of Tommy Stewart, former Northern Ireland flyweight champion, 1938. He was born the 22nd of February 1915 and he died the 31st of March 1964. Stewart was a tradesman who journeyed in pain and plied his tough trade on a hostile terrain where mercy was absent by mutual consent, when fair nature changes to warlike intent. His workshop a rope square, his corner a school, where teachers advise as he sits on his stool. He's filled with ambition, commitment and will, but the strength of the man is his punching and skill, his courage and cunning, his durable chin, but above all his total obsession to win. He learned all he knew in a small York Street gym, from shrewd men who fashioned a style to suit him. They matched him with others of similar design and smiled when the rough diamond started to shine. Tommy trained hard and his sweat filled the place. Ambition burned high in his heart and his face. He hoped that his talent would enrich his life and provide for his family should he take a wife. In the year 33, having just returned 18, he made his debut on the North's boxing scene. Historians differ on whom he first faced, for memories fade when some bouts can't be traced. Thomas and Finnegan both get the shout as opponents in his professional bout. He beat both those men and had his hand raised. Promoters took note and his prospects were praised. At the end of the year, the tally was 5, in a trade where the toughest and smartest survived. In the east end of Belfast, the Shankill and Falls, men fought for a pittance in drink smoky halls, whose ruthless promoters who lived of their sweat would cut to the bone any purse they would get. Stewart garnered an army of fans with his skill. Crowds flocked to the venues when he topped the bill. Jack Harvey, Joe Bradley and Tommy Bodell all crossed the channel and all quickly fell, as did Roy Fitzsimmons and Lefty Mackay when they shared the ring with this tough Belfast fly. They wilt to the pressure of each punch he fires, and he'll punch till his body falls down or expires. Surrender's a word that is never considered, though some bouts may see him engulfed and embittered. Through bloody and battered, he never will yield. He'll fight till they carry him out on his shield. His 3 fights with Curry were brutal and bruising. For defeat or retreat were not words of his choosing. But he learns from these bouts, and according to friends, his schooling pays off, his apprenticeship ends. Spectators approve with a cascade of sound when opponents are stretched and hospital bound. Men talk of his courage, his grace in defeat. He earns his degree in the science that's sweet. Opponents were outgunned and quite often decked as he gathered momentum and gained new respect. As a time-served technician, he wasn't unnerved. All rules of engagement were strictly observed. He mixed with the greatest. In 36, he met Peter Kane and taught him some tricks. For 10 hard and fast rounds, he stayed there with Kane. As a future world champion, tried all night in vain to land a big punch to put Stewart away. The referee stopped it too quickly, friends say. This could be true, for the newspapers show the last round had less than 2 minutes to go. But everyone called it one hell of a bout, and the York man's courage was never in doubt. Kane was a blacksmith. This caused Stewart to say, that guy had a hammer in each hand today. Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, Dundee. He'd travel wherever to get his fair fee. He'd go anywhere if the money was right, and give away height, weight and reach in a fight. He fought Jackie Patterson in 38. The result was a draw, but the action was great. Patterson fought his way right to the top, but always remembered the Tommy Stewart scrap. From off Corporation Street came a real threat. At the Oval one Friday, the near neighbours met. Rinty could croon, but he sang dumb that night. Stewart boxed like a champion as he took the fight. At the King's Hall return, the excitement had grown, for both men were hewed from the same block of stone. In the peak of condition, fantastically fit, Monaghan proved he could fight and could hit. Stewart went down from a right in round 2, but he sprang back at Rinty and hard punches flew. Young Rinty was schooled in the same sweat-filled joints and made it all level when he won on points. Stewart finished the year fighting good local men and met Jim McStravick, who he stopped in 10. That gave him the coveted Northern Ireland crown, but he wanted Rinty and hunted him down. The world was at war when they met again. The rubber match promised excitement and pain. Both men could punch with considerable force, and the crowd were surprised when the fight took its course. The ref lifted Rinty's hand. Stewart paused to say, that kid's the best flyweight in the world today. He wished Rinty luck, and he watched him climb high. Fate wasn't as kind to this courageous guy. For 7 hard years he fought only the best, but illness was forcing his brave heart to rest. With well over 100 fights to his name, he stood down in 40 and gave up his game. At least 3 opponents won the world flyweight crown, but skill took him close, but his luck let him down. Could anyone blame him for leaving a sigh? Through no fault of his own, the parade had passed by. Reviews of his fights say no flyweight was tougher, but his murderous trade left a pain hard to suffer. He treated this ailment just like a new foe, and like 2 contenders they fought toe to toe. But death was too strong, and he won the last round, the only opponent to keep Tommy down. The great hands lay stilled in a coffin of pain. He had fought his last fight. He was just 49. York Street was lined as he went to his grave. The district turned out full of warrior brave. Old boxers who'd faced him quite openly cried as they toiled the last count for a comrade who died. But his memory will linger when sporting men meet and talk of the boxer from Old Henry Street, who came close to greatness but missed out on fame, a champion uncrowned in the world's hardest game. That's a lovely tribute. Thank you, John Campbell. That's a lovely poem to one of the greatest boxers ever come out of here, Tommy Stewart. God rest your soul, Tommy. And I know for a fact, I know Rinty held him in the highest esteem possible. I remember Rinty talking about him. So the other boxer from York Street was a guy called Alec Robinson, who won the Irish middleweight title in 1927. And he was known for being a very hard man on the street. Buck Alec was a very colourful fella and walked his toothless lions around York Street and Sailortown. The Buck was rumoured to be a notorious hitman in the 1920s and was said to have been involved in the McMacken murders of 5 brothers on the Antrim Road. B. Special Nixon was said to have colluded with Robinson, but as I say, it was rumour, and they were never brought to court and found guilty in a court of law. Unfortunately, I don't know anything else about his boxing career. I remember Jerry's story talking to me and Alec, and Jerry says that Alec would not have used bad language around women and would have pulled anyone who did. In court in 1959, he claimed he knocked the guy out as he didn't like the language he was using. His life was shrouded in mystery, and it was said that he worked as a bodyguard for Al Capone and JFK's father. He actually became quite affable as he got older, and his favourite saying was, "It's a gag." But there's no doubt that when he was younger, he was a ruthless man. He died in 1985, aged 93. Ian Paisley and Gusty Spence attended his funeral. There's actually a mural of him at the Lochside Youth Club. Check it out. Thanks very much for listening to me today, folks. Have a lovely day. It's a blessed day out there. The sun's shining. Make the most of it. God bless.